Eddie Van Halen here, telling you, keep playing, man. Gotta keep playing. It's the only thing there is. Music, man. Keep playing. All right? I'm gonna come looking for you if you don't.
2020 can suck my... Here we are. Seems like this year I've been doing nothing but in memoriam videos. Started out with Neil Peart. Now it's Eddie Van Halen. You know, we're a drum channel. I'm not going to get into the intro that I usually do. Welcome to Drunk Drummer TV. If you haven't been here before, I'm Steve. Usually I do reactions and analysis, and it's basically a drum education channel. But today we're going to be paying respects to a man that deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of guitar players. It's Eddie Van Halen. My two best friends in this whole world are cult members of the Van Halen fan club. If Eddie Van Halen started a cult, my buddy Tony and Parker, they would go join it. They would shave their heads and they would go join the cult of Van Halen. And I think we all know those cats. I'm a gigantic Van Halen fan. I saw them in 1995 on the Balance tour. I saw them when Collective Soul opened up for them. It was the first time I ever saw a crowd boo a band. They were not here for Collective Soul. Hey, they were not here for it. They wanted them to get off the stage immediately. And like, I've said this before, like, if you're like a fan of like joy, if you're like a fan of like joy, then you would love a Van Halen concert. And I don't want this to be a sad video. I want to exalt the man, and I want this to be a joyful remembrance of a guy that affected all of us. You know, on this channel, we make a lot of guitar player jokes because as a drummer, you have to make guitar player jokes if you've ever been in a band with a guitar player. But we love guitar players around here, and we really love Eddie Van Halen around here. I went into the studio where I teach the day that he died. Actually, I got the text on the way to work. And I walked in, and you know, I'm the only drum teacher there, and everybody else is it's me and some keyboard, piano teachers, and a bunch of guitar teachers, and it was like a funeral in there. And I'm always touched by when someone in the music business dies that has affected people by their art. I'm always affected so much by seeing how people grieve these people that we've never met. You know, I talked about this in the Neil Peart video that I did. And that's it, man. That's the ball game. That's everything in this world, right? We want to affect people in a positive way. And man, Van Halen just makes you smile. My buddy Tony, he always said it, man. Van Halen is rock and roll with a smile. He always said there's like metal with a frown, and rock and roll with a smile, and it's Van Halen, and that's what he did. And you know, we're going to talk about Alex, obviously, because I love him too. But let's get down to business and watch some Ed today. If this video doesn't get copyright claimed because my last one did, actually go check that out, please. I did do an Alex Van Halen video actually on his birthday in May. All proceeds from this video, if it doesn't get copyright claimed, will be given to the American Cancer Society, because fuck cancer, you have now taken far too many great performers from us. So, you know, look, we're going to be watching, you know, what's more Van Halen than Hot for Teacher. And we're going to talk about drums some, but when it comes down to like the groove, you know, that groove is one of the all-time great grooves of all time. I'm not going to get into the minutia of the groove to Hot for Teacher, because on YouTube there are 5,150 different YouTube videos explaining and showing it. Go check that out. So man, let's get in. Let's give some love to brother Eddie. It just seems like you never see a Van Halen concert that doesn't look like this from the crowd standpoint. I picked this because I wanted to see him play that iconic Kramer. DLR. Preening and prancing. man, Eddie Van Halen, and man, I know this is a drummer talking about guitar, and I know 5 chords. I don't know shit about guitar, but I'm a musician, and I can talk in those terms. And man, it just seems like there are noises that came out of Eddie's guitar that we hadn't heard or didn't know could exist. He's our Jimi Hendrix. Like, he's our Jimi Hendrix. That's who Eddie was. Like, he played guitar like no one has ever played guitar before. There's that combination of when a brother and a guitar player is a brother and two brothers, a drummer and guitar player has. Very Vinny and Dimebag. They played so much together. Like that part, like, you know, that's just Alex locking in with his little brother. I never understood why Alex never had a guitar or drum set with the iconic paint job. Girl ran out on the stage. You know, David Lee Roth saw her later. Michael Anthony, man, underrated bass player and a phenomenal vocalist. My favorite thing is to, like, you know, I lived with my buddy Parker as a guitar player, and he always had stacks of guitar player magazines around. And my favorite thing is to go in the back of the, you know, they had transcriptions every month, and they would, you know, always have, like, seemed like every month guitar player had a transcription of Eddie Van Halen. And the way that they would try to, like, you know, verbalize on paper some of the sounds that he would make, be like squiggly line going up, triangles going down. Like, there's just things that he did that you just can't write down. Okay, so and we're going to get back. I'm going to rewind so we can get to this whole guitar solo by itself. This was a very, like, try to do a little education here. One of the things that Van Halen does that almost no other band does, the guitar solo exists by itself. Almost I can't think of a Van Halen song that this doesn't happen in. The day that he died, I taught, like, as many of my students who could, we learned how to play Pound Cake that day. And it happens in that song for sure. When he plays the solo, he either, like, goes to a completely different chord progression than the rest of the band, or a completely different key, I think. But it's always like the guitar solo always existed as its own little island in the middle of this song, and it's so Van Halen. And from a drummer standpoint, it's very interesting because you end up having like a third or fourth part that you need to write, or Alex had to write, that was just the drum part for that guitar solo. You know, most of the time, very traditional, the guitar solo is over the verse section or over the chorus section. It was never like that in Van Halen. It's one of the most innovative things that they did from a compositional standpoint. So let's just go back here and let's just listen to, you know, Eddie Van Halen, man. Cameraman's not doing his job. There it is. I know I stopped in the middle of the solo, but man, everybody go watch this. I know, man, we've all been listening to Van Halen for the last 3 days. When Eddie played, he always had a smile on his face, because you could just tell that he was loving what he was doing. And yeah, he went too early. And when you think about it, someone who like was around David Lee Roth for like 20 plus years, it's amazing he made it that long. Holy shit, could you imagine having to like deal with DLR for that long? But man, he just always exuded joy. As I've said before, like, if you like joy and you're a fan of joy, then I hope you got to see Van Halen live. There it is, man. There's the 1,000-watt smile. Stick around for the end of the video. We're going to talk about something, a very unique aspect of Van Halen that we have lost. Yeah, I mean, you know, the bright side of a tragedy in the music biz is they left us the stuff that they wanted us to have, and how wonderful is that? You know, I'm kind of fatalist. I'm from the South, so we tend to be kind of fatalistic down here, and I always make a joke when we're like doing a record. I always say like, man, I'm just over here trying to make a good sounding funeral. And man, Eddie made a fantastic sounding funeral. Here's my take on what Van Halen and so many bands from that era, you know, up until, you know, kind of recently, I guess. I'm going to sound very boomerish, even though I'm Gen Xer on this. Van Halen was a band for like 4 or 5 years before they released their first record. They were like a cover band, and they were banging it out in the fucking clubs, and they sharpened their skills, and they became a great band through repetition. And that's why they were able to last so long. So many rock bands that come now, especially like radio rock bands, come through two records and out. It's because those cats were like put together by some dude in a suit in the A&R room. And Van Halen wasn't put together by a suit in an A&R room. They were a badass band in California, and they worked their way up, and they earned their spot. And they earned their spot in a way that let them keep it for 40 plus years. I said this on Facebook, and you know, this was one of 1,000 Facebook memorials that we all got on our feed, as musicians, and especially as learned, you know, literate musicians, we can really get caught up in the minutia of what the rules are and what the rule book says we can and cannot do, and what is appropriate and more appropriate and less appropriate. Eddie Van Halen came out like a trailblazer, and he took that rule book and he threw it across the room, and he took a fucking blowtorch to it. And that is how you innovate, and that's how you become a legend, and that's how you become a true original. And that's what Eddie Van Halen was, from Van Halen 1 all the way to that last DLR record with the reunion. Thank you, Eddie Van Halen. My heart goes out to Alex. Man, can you imagine like how close they were? They were brothers. They came here from another country. They didn't speak the language when they got here, and they've been by each other's sides ever since. And that's a real beautiful thing. And man, I hope we all get to have that kind of connection, especially with family members and friends. And I'm not profound enough to put into words what Eddie Van Halen meant, but I know he meant a lot to me. Like I said, that concert I saw was like 95. I think it was a senior. I think it was a senior, like a graduation present for my parents, and it was just a joyful, fucking wonderful time. And if you can give someone a joyful, wonderful time, what better way to live this life? So thank you, Eddie Van Halen, and my condolences, Alex. Eddie always practiced until it was easy.